Welcome to the March 2022 Star Wars Canon Update. Last month we got 9 new comic issues, so let's dive in. The 15th and final issue of the High Republic was good and exciting. I love how visually effective the Nameless and their attacks on the Jedi are, and I still get chills every time another Jedi falls. I will say the impact of this issue was somewhat undercut by knowing how some of the storylines would end thanks to the Fallen Star, but it is what it is. It was still thrilling seeing the fall of Starlight Beacon from another perspective, and the additional deaths were very upsetting, especially the Archivist Orbelin. Stop killing my favorites, Cavan Scott. But this series as a whole was a blast to read, and I still love Ario Anindito's art. I hope he will be returning with Scott for the Phase 2 comic in October. The second issue of Eye of the Storm was the final story in Phase 1, and it was okay. Kinda weird and trippy. It gave us more information about the origins of the Nameless, but really it raised more questions than answers. They're from this strange, almost Mortis-type planet that's very difficult to reach, but Markion knows how to do it thanks to his family having a history with them. I think the Jedi Order may also have encountered them before, but buried any records of it. Why? I'm not sure, but it does make me think we could see more of the Nameless in Phase 2, and the end of the comic also set up an extra interesting wrinkle for Phase 3. The Nihil have effectively shut off their territory from the Republic. Any ship that attempts to use hyperspace can be violently destroyed. I do like that, but we'll have to wait until Phase 3 to see what comes of it, and we're gonna have a good 6 months until the High Republic returns for Phase 2. If you want to see how I felt about Phase 1 as a whole, I'll put a link to my review video in the cards. The new Han Solo and Chewbacca series is off to a good and intriguing start with its first issue. Han and Chewie have been working with Jabba the Hutt for years at this point, so I suppose there's still room to have more live-action Solo with Alden Ehrenreich and Emilia Clarke prior to this story, but that's neither here nor there. Jabba sends Han, Chewie, and Greedo to Corellia to rob someone, and while he's there, Han runs into a man named Ovan claiming to be his father. I doubt that's actually true, but I like the setup well enough. Han's also got a bounty hunter hot on his trail, which is no surprise. There's not much more to say. I liked Mark Guggenheim's writing. I liked David Messina's art. So far, so good. Crimson Reign's third issue was probably my favorite of the series so far. Again, I like this setup of almost an anthology series surrounding the people Kira has put together to take down the Emperor. This one was about the Archivist and her investigation into Yoda's survival. Charles Soule wrote a bunch of great stuff about how and why the people of the galaxy seemingly forgot about the Jedi so quickly, as well as ruminations on the light side and the dark side, and how the dark represents who we are and the demons we have to overcome, but the light represents who we could be, our best selves. And he did all that while connecting to the Dr. Aphra comics, bringing in Jeremiah Colton from Revenge of the Sith, dropping in some High Republic mentions, and even pulling Yoda into the story, letting him teach a lesson and not overshadowing anything else going on. It was downright impressive writing that included just about everything that makes Star Wars great into one issue. Star Wars issue 21 was alright. It took us back to a story we haven't seen since before War of the Bounty Hunters. Shara Bey, mother of Poe Dameron, has been trapped, hiding on a Star Destroyer for months. She hatches an escape plan that fails, and now her husband, Kez Dameron, is going to attempt an unsanctioned rescue with his friends. It feels a little jarring to return to all of this, and I get the sense the storyline is just going to be wrapped up quickly, which is fine. Even though I felt War of the Bounty Hunters was a little uneven, I like how it, and now Crimson Reign, have elevated the comics into feeling far more impactful to the rest of the galaxy, and this issue felt like it was on the outside of all of that. Darth Vader issue 21 continued bringing Sabe into the story, specifically face-to-face with Darth Vader once more. But first, he has to find her by fighting his way through some Imperial subterfuge led by General Romati, who is upset at the trail of bodies the witch hunt for Crimson Dawn is leaving behind. So Vader will have to deal with all that in addition to everything else. This issue felt like it was just about pulling Sabe more firmly into things, which is good. I like her in this series, but I'm still struggling to be fully invested in what's happening between the Empire specifically and Crimson Dawn. But Dr. Aphra issue 19 continued to impress. I still think this arc is the best this series has been in a long time. Getting Aphra back to her archaeological and treasure hunting roots in a race against a rival and former friend has been great fun. Learning that the Ascendant had a big sanctum underneath the University of Barleth was a good revelation along the lines of the Jedi Temple being built on top of a Sith shrine. I can feel this arc starting to wrap up, and I can't wait to see what kind of twists Alyssa Wong has in store for us. With such strong Indiana Jones vibes, I assume the Ascendant tech will have some unexpected consequences. Bounty Hunters issue 21 was exciting, seeing Tonga and her team capturing General Vukora, the head of the Unbroken Clan criminal syndicate on Corellia. We also got a special appearance from Lady Proxima, which was fun, but I'm still struggling to get into this series. The main conflict surrounding Cordelia has never really grabbed me, but I think it's finally starting to wrap up, since she was captured last month in Crimson Reign issue 2. The second issue of the Halcyon Legacy was forgettable. I'm just not into a bunch of stories about the Galactic Star Cruiser. This one was about Aura Singh and Zam Wessel, who had a job on the ship, but there's not enough time for it to actually be anything in like half of one comic issue. It all felt very cliché and predictable, and I'm just finding it hard to care about this miniseries at all. Also released this month were a handful of short stories in Star Wars Insider, but my issue didn't come for some reason, so I can't cover them. So for Story of the Month, I'm gonna go with Crimson Reign issue 3. Like I said, I was just completely impressed by Soul's ability to balance fun Star Wars-y connections along with strong themes and fresh ideas. In April, we're getting 1 new book, Queen's Hope, and 8 new comics. Keep in mind that the comic dates have been fluctuating a lot these past months, so my calendar might not be accurate. But that's what we can look forward to. 1 more month without live-action Star Wars, but it's coming back in May. But that's it for March. The Canon update will return on May 1st to cover all those new stories. Until then, please like this video, subscribe to the channel to keep up with Star Wars content as it's released, follow us on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram, and consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.